You know,
What's going on, man?
I'm a little
It's Frank
disappointed.
Starfire.
Nice to meet you.
And, I'm a simple
Welcome
guy,
back
and
to
I
the world
live
of
my
Frank
life by really
Starfire.
simple means, you know what I mean?
It's an
And,
amazing
I live
place.
by simple mottos and credos
You
and
know,
phrases and everything because it works for me, you know what I mean?
wonderful
Lately,
happiness.
I've adopted a new one. As
Hey, what up, y'all? What's going on? It's your boy Frank Starfire, and you are in the Just to Be Frank podcast. As you can see, I have my very first guest here with me. This your boy Syn Knowledge in the fucking track here, everybody. You know what I mean? Everybody say we under the button. Nah, it's my boy Syn right here. It's my brother. You know what I mean? The first, the song you hear right at the beginning of the podcast, he produced that. You know what I'm saying? I've known this cat daddy since he was 15 years old.
Been a minute.
You know what I mean? He's a black belt in karate. He's a fucking father. He's a stand-up cat. And he is one of my best friends in the whole world. You know what I'm saying? I word up. Like, you know.
We've been through a lot.
We've been through a lot. You know what I'm saying?
Been through a lot.
And so it is my honor, it is my privilege for you to be the first guest, official guest in studio in the Just to Be Frank podcast.
Here we go.
You know what I mean? Welcome, Slancha. Word up, Slancha. Enjoy. You know what I'm saying? As ever, the Just to Be Frank podcast is brought to you by Premonition Projects and Capuland Records. You can go download all of the newest fucking shit from them on Spotify. Go check out my boy Coach Cap and Doughboy Sums on the Slang Editorial podcast. That's over on Anchor, Spotify, Google, iTunes, and it's on YouTube as well. Go check that out. As you see, I got my Capuland record shirt on. You know what I'm saying? I rep hard. Listen, man, if nothing else, I'm going to support my friends. You know what I'm saying? Because that's about that. Now, the reason I have this cat daddy on here is because, as we know, the NBA season has just wrapped up, and the Los Angeles Lakers are once again the motherfucking champions. Big ups to the motherfucking Lakers. Big ups to the motherfucking Lakers. Word up. Word up. Big ups to.
I'm not really a Lakers fan like that.
He's a Mavericks fan.
I think they deserve it.
He's a Mavericks fan.
Yeah.
To be fair, and as we all know, I'm a Knicks fan. So, you know, listen, I stand by my team.
I'm
man.
just saying.
I stand by my team.
Like,
and if it's and I ain't gonna lie, if it's a West Coast team, for the West Coast, it's San Antonio. I always run with San Antonio. It's Greg Popovich,
right.
And I remember playing Live 96. With just, and I would always pick San Antonio because they had Vinny Del Negro, and, you know what I'm saying? They had a fucking, and David Robinson was on the team, and fucking Avery Johnson was the point guard, you know what I'm saying? So that was my squad whenever I played them.
That game was dope.
Live 96, y'all know nothing about that, the young fucks. You know what I'm saying? But now, here's the thing. Now, first of all, let me offer the caveat that I am not the prototypical sports fan in any way, shape, or form. I watch sports, but I don't have to watch sports. You know what I'm saying? In all honesty,
it's not something that you need.
Yeah, right.
You have other things and facets that you can go to.
I enjoy watching basketball, and I won't. You know what I'm saying? Because I enjoy the artistry of the game.
True.
You know what I'm saying?
I agree.
But I also am a fan of the 90s era. The 80s and 90s era is a bit tougher.
Because that's the era we grew up in.
That's the era we grew up in.
The era we grew
you know what I mean?
That we're in now.
And is totally different now. In that era, we had Michael Jeffrey Jordan. And I'm only saying that because I just learned that his middle name was Jeffrey. Yes, sir. I sure am. Yeah,
But
I'm not a nice
yeah,
guy.
Yeah, of course.
I'm not a nice guy. But no, Michael Jordan was largely considered to be the greatest of all time for that era. Because in today's game, LeBron James is the GOAT. There's no denying it at this point.
Right.
You got to give him his fucking respect.
And I'm not saying like respect, like he's better than Jordan.
No, he's not. I don't.
If anybody would really want to be compared to Jordan, I'm sorry.
It's Kobe Bean Bryant.
It's Kobe Bryant.
Kobe Bean Bryant. Rest in peace.
His
Rest in peace, Gigi.
Of the game was basically emulated in
right.
what Jordan did.
Right, but what separated Kobe?
His physique looked exactly like Jordan.
Right, but what I personally think that Kobe Bryant was more versatile than Michael Jordan.
No, because he got to the cup every time.
He was
just like Jordan.
He did, but he could do it in ways.
But Jordan shot it a lot.
Jordan shot it a lot.
You know
Kobe shot it a lot, but Kobe Bryant was to me a bit more. He was that mid. He was like the last vestige of that 90s era, and then he was the first vestige of the new era. Kobe bridged the two eras.
Okay.
You know what I'm saying? So he played like that. Like in his early stage, he was all Jordan, but as he got older, he became Kobe. There's no denying. You know what I'm saying? And he had because he had to alter his game. He first like he had to play with Shaq, and then he had to play without Shaq.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? So that's two totally different games.
Right.
Now, LeBron James also has some experience playing with Shaq, but the Shaq he got was well past his prime by the time.
That was in Miami. He was basically damn near done with his career.
That was was it Miami or was it Cleveland? I think it was Cleveland.
Was it Cleveland?
It was Cleveland.
Did he?
Yeah. Yo, Shaq has played for like 12 teams. Shout out, Shaq. Love you, brother. Word up, man. But for me, this season is an asterisk. And the only reason I give it the asterisk is because of the idea that they did not play a full season against all competition.
Okay. So before we go on to that,
right?
I was just looking it up today.
Okay.
How many games each team played for the season? So there is an 82 game season. 82 games to complete the season, then you go into the playoffs.
Right.
The team that was the last team, the 30th team on that played 72 games.
Okay.
So that's 10 games less than
regular season. Less than regular season.
So can you really call it an asterisk?
All right.
I don't really think so.
All right. So now having those new facts, I can alter that perception.
Right. So
but
you know what I'm saying?
I can still say they did not play against all competition.
Well, and then I'm gonna stop you right there because if you think about it, they had 8 games to play in order to see where your standing was.
Right.
So there was a bunch of teams. So there's 8 seeds, and obviously whoever's underneath that, they don't go.
Right. Which to me is
they had the opportunity in somewhat way.
Which I can respect the idea that they were invited and declined, but for me, I look at it in a realistic fashion. There are a lot of great teams, a lot of bum-ass teams.
True indeed.
You know what I'm saying?
I agree, 100%.
But towards the end of the season, after the All-Star break,
right,
it's normal and typical for some of those, maybe not the first, second, or third seed, but those 4th, 5th, 6th, 7th seeds that are like lined up at that time, injuries happen.
That's true.
You know what I'm saying? Like those things occur. Like, you know what I'm saying? Fatigue sets in.
Miami was not in the top seed anyway.
Well, they were the 5th seed.
Right. So
they were the 5th seed. So that's
right.
Listen. That's not the 8th seed.
Well, I'm just saying. All right. So I think Portland was the 8th seed. in
the West.
Right.
Okay.
You know what I mean? So if you think about it, the teams
Melo
below
made the
you have,
playoffs
well,
again.
you have Dallas. I think Dallas made it.
They were part of the 7th seed.
Right. You know what I'm saying? So you know what I'm saying? It's the bottom tier teams that didn't make it. Now you gotta give them what credit is due. Those top 8 seeds had to fight their way to just even get into those positions to where, you know what I mean, they're able to actually get into the playoffs.
Right.
So of course you have the 8 games. So I think that was fair enough because
right, but none of the but in 8 games, none of those teams like that's a 20.
But if you think about it,
game stretch.
If the last team on that roster on the 30 teams that they had.
Was it 30? Is it 30 or 32?
It's 30, 32, whatever happens.
Like
it doesn't matter. But still.
I like facts, man. Gotta have facts on this show.
But as far as that team played 70-something games, I think that's well enough for them to have a ranking system to be like, okay,
like I
said,
have
8 games in order to
right. But like I said, I'm not thinking about the 13th, 14th seed teams, the Knicks, the whoever the fuck else, like the Knicks, the Golden State Warriors, like those were bottom. They had no real chance of doing anything. You know what I'm saying? But those 9, 10th seeds, they may have had a shot if given the opportunity, and if they took the opportunity to go into the bubble, right, they could have done it. Right. But again, as a layman at it, I'm surmising because I'm not entirely sure if that's, how that would have worked out either way. But because of the, like, I look at this sort of as the lockout season where, and I'm not going to say that it was gifted to LeBron James. But I'm certainly not going to say it wasn't an easy road for him.
If you think about it like this, all the talk has been that when LeBron was on the East Coast, it was easy. He could just go teams and shit like that. The West was always going to be the hardest to actually.
That was a challenge. It should have been a challenge. But then you forget the freak of nature that LeBron James is.
And this is why I really can't compare him to Jordan because, hands down, physically.
Yeah, no.
LeBron, like, on a post.
That's a huge human.
Task.
It's a huge human.
You know what I'm saying? And in his 17th year. So let's
17th year.
Well, let's put it like this. If he were in his, say, when he was really coming up. So let's say
he went third year.
No, when he was in Miami. Let's say he was in Miami, and that's when he was really getting big.
He was already
you
big.
Would say that,
he was already big.
No, but I'm just saying, like.
But then he put on more mass. Yeah, he put on way more mass.
More mass when he went to.
Yeah, his hairline. He lost the hairline, but he damn sure gained some muscle.
I mean, like you said, in the eras is different. You know what I mean? I would never compare him to. You can't.
Listen, you can't compare him to Jordan.
Right, you really can't.
Because in that era, motherfuckers was playing with sprained ankles and broken fingers and, wrist dislocate. They were playing with that shit. Back then, a foul was, are you bleeding? So, you know what I'm saying? And I'm being facetious and kind of exaggerating, but that's how it seemed to me. Like, you know what I'm saying?
So I want to be corrected. So Minnesota was basically at the bottom tier of the 30 teams.
The Minnesota Timberwolves.
Right.
Okay.
And they played 64 games.
Okay.
But even then, you know what I'm saying?
The Knicks were not the worst team?
So the Knicks were 25.
So wow! That's better than I thought!
So they actually had a decent amount of games.
Okay.
Games played, not won, but played.
But played, okay. Right. Oh, right, okay.
So, they were... So you got to think about it like that. The Miami Heat are actually the only team that played the most. They played 94 games.
Okay. Well, yeah, they played through the whole playoffs, and they made it to the finals.
And so credit to Miami Heat for doing that.
Oh, hell fucking.
Because, I mean, if you really think about it, like, Jimmy Butler was looking for a team to call his own.
Yeah, and he found one.
He didn't have his thing over there in Minnesota because that was That was Carl Anthony Towns' team. That was his team.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? So then he went to Chicago.
Right.
That really didn't work out. I'm not too sure why, because there wasn't really no predominant person there. You know what I'm saying? And then
sometimes that environment, sometimes the bigger cities, and obviously Miami's a huge city.
Right.
But comparatively to a Chicago or a New York, it's vastly different. You know what I'm saying? Miami is the culture's different. I just feel
like the culture's different because in every state that you go to, you're not gonna see the same shit.
No, never.
Like I've never seen, not for nothing, the swag in New York, how they have out in PA is totally different. Even if you live here and you're from New York, or you live here for a time.
For our viewers, we're gonna offer the caveat that we live on a mountain.
Right.
So
you know what I'm saying?
Nobody has swag here.
Right. You know what I'm saying? Like,
but we talk about Philly. Love you, Philly. We talking to you. Y'all different.
Nah, I'm just saying. But then once again, if you go to Philly, it's not the same swag that you would see in Chicago, or if you go to fucking Texas, or if you go to fucking Cali.
Right.
In those certain areas. Right. You know what I mean? You're not going to see the same.
And yeah, because no matter where you go, there's going to be differences from what you're used to. Now, we're from Queens, New York.
Right.
So our culture is ish. Hood adjacent, how they say. Like we got to experience all of the dynamics of everything in Queens. We got some rural, there's some rural aspects, there's some suburban aspects, there's some urban aspects. Like there's some hood aspects. You know what I'm saying? There's everything in Queens because Queens is the biggest melting pot on the planet Earth. But coming from that, now we live in Pennsylvania, and the culture of Pennsylvania is vastly different because this is one of the first states. Like there's history here. You know what I'm saying? I'll never go back to Gettysburg, ever. I'll never go back to Gettysburg.
I mean, it was like because I went when I was traveling when I worked at my old job.
Right.
And I was in Virginia. I seen Manassas. I seen that whole strip where everything and stuff like that.
Yeah.
That's not for nothing, but that's a landmark.
It's a landmark.
And for someone like, you know what I'm saying, at your age when you've seen it,
I couldn't handle it.
Right. But I think if you went back now, it would probably be a little different.
It certainly would, because here's the difference. Now, hold on. I just paused it. Not only do I know the history, but I know my energy now. You know what I'm saying? And because back then I didn't recognize I didn't know what an empathic individual was or these things. And yes, I know this shit exists. Energy is a real thing. I don't give a fuck what you know what I'm saying, with the viewers, because some viewers will sit there and think, no, he's crazy. No, it's not about being crazy. It's about recognizing that everything has an energy pattern. You know what I'm saying? We used to say when we was growing up, don't come in my circle. Anywhere that's been in my arm's reach, that's my circle. So don't step into my circumference of my shit. You know what I'm saying? Basically, what I'm telling you is don't bring your energy into my energy, because I may not like the way your energy feels, and I might not be able. We may not be able to react properly to it. That's what causes fights. It's an energy. You know what I'm saying? And as a martial artist, you understand that.
Of course.
There's an energy to every person. When you're walking down the block and you feel somebody's energy, you be like, I ain't like the vibe of that person. That's exactly what you do.
And I'm not gonna lie, I do that somewhat at my job, but then you gotta, like, I'm a Scorpio, so you know what I mean? I don't jump head first trying to with somebody, you know what I'm saying? I analyze first before I'll be like, you know what, I can fuck with somebody like that.
Right. Now,
you know what I'm saying?
And me, I'm a gregarious motherfucker. I flit around, and everybody starts at 100% with me. And then your actions will lessen your levels with me. So once you get to like a 70% level with me, I don't fuck with you. I used to keep it. I used to be a little bit higher. I've dropped it to 70% because I try and give everybody the benefit of the doubt, and maybe.
I mean, which is granted. You should do something like that.
Hold on. Hold on one second. I'm sorry. Maverick has joined us. What up, Mav?
So what I mean. If you think about it, the energy that you put off, like you were saying before.
Right.
I totally forgot what we were talking
No, the energy you put out when you're like, say you walk past somebody and you just feel like, damn, I don't like the way that person feels. And then I didn't like the way that person, that energy felt around me. And then later on you find out he might have been a serial killer or some, I'm exaggerating only slightly, but we live in Northeast Pennsylvania, and statistically speaking, there's probably at least 14 active serial killers in Northeast Pennsylvania right now, just by law of averages. And I think
I don't know how you get this statistic.
Well,
this shit out.
Honestly, it just comes from, and weirdly enough, I have a weird fixation with serial killers.
That's on some Dexter shit.
It is mainly because, well, you know what it is? The human mind, it's intriguing to me how the human mind works. Okay. And since I know everybody is wired differently, somebody who actually takes the time to be proficient as somebody who is what could be classified as a serial killer is an intriguing thought process to me. You know what I'm saying?
I mean, but anything can trigger that. You know what I'm saying?
It can.
It could be a bad upbringing. It could be, you could have the perfect upbringing.
All it takes is one.
To where you get everything that you want, and you think you could get away with shit like that.
Sure,
you know,
but
it could be
a chemical imbalance. It could be
to where you were
trauma. It could be
like
anything, yeah. But that's most crimes. But when you consider things like heinous crimes, so like one of my favorite subjects was H.H. Holmes. And I'm sure that I know there's a podcast out there that talks about just like serial killers and shit. Go ahead and look it up. You can find it on Spotify, I'm sure. I can't think of the name of it right now, but they talk about nothing but serial killers. And I remember reading a book when I was like maybe 21, 22 about H.H. Holmes. And he had this place in Chicago, Illinois called The Castle. And it was like a boarding house, but it was a boarding house that he made specifically to like have booby traps and trap doors and secret passageways and hallways that went nowhere.
Actually living.
Not living, right? Yeah. And
what would he do with these?
He would kill them smother them in their sleep, release gas into their room, knock them out, torture them, do all sorts of shit in the basement, and then burn them in the furnace or melt them into acid and shit. Yeah, like there have been some really sick people throughout history. And that's where I come from. I always look at it from a historical aspect. Like, damn, I got to pour some more whiskey because I'm about to say his name. I got to take a shot every time I say Joe Rogan's name. Every time I say Joe Rogan's name, I got to take a shot. Shout out to Joe Rogan. And you know what? Hold on, but let me pause for a second. Look. Everybody knows that I started this podcast and shit because I really was bored during COVID-19 quarantine. And I just had nothing better to do, right? And what spawned it was just my want to speak about certain topics and things. What spawned this right here specifically is the concept of somebody sitting down with me and actually having a conversation was the Joe Rogan podcast. So I give all props to Joe Rogan and one of
he had some cool motherfuckers on there.
And I learned a lot about a lot of ill motherfuckers from that. And with that said, I want to shout out Joey Diaz. And because that motherfucker right there
Diaz, man.
is one of my favorite people to listen to. When I hear this motherfucker speaking, I feel like I'm learning about everything, and he's
just brand new.
And this motherfucker is crazy.
Yeah.
But his mentals and the way he formulates comedy and everything, like, yo, he's an ill motherfucker. I love that guy.
When you see people like that, it's more that you want to take gems from.
Yeah, man.
Instead
like
of people who, do the negative.
Right.
You know what I'm saying?
Right.
Because if he's basically one of those people who wants to educate.
Right.
You know what I'm saying?
Right.
And like and that's what I say about you. Like, if you know something and you have the not even the mental capacity, but the knowledge of that certain subject, then if you tell somebody that, then obviously that's going to be a good thing. You know what I mean? To spread on that knowledge, I believe in that highly.
Yeah, because we grew up in the 80s and 90s where each one teach one was a motto.
Right.
Schoolhouse Rock and shit. Like, knowledge,
Diaz, man.
word, man. Like, knowledge was everything to us. You know what I'm saying? But it wasn't, but what I also discovered and what I'm thankful for is that not only did I get that book learning, but I also got that street shit.
True.
You know what I'm saying? And the ability to meld the two, I think, is where I'm good at. You know what I'm saying? Where I can understand the criminal's mentality and recognize that not every criminal is a bad person. Not everybody who commits crime is a bad person.
Right, because they could be doing it for a certain reason.
Right.
And it may not be the right reason.
No, not to us, but perception is reality.
Yeah,
He or she may see no other choice in the situation. And what I've largely
that's not giving people credit who fucking go and fucking rob banks and fucking shoot people at gunpoint because that was something that they felt that they need to do.
Not at all. No, that's like. But what I'm saying is But if you listen, if you selling weed to keep food on your table, man, good job to you. But I'll also tell you, hey, maybe it's time to move your family to a state where you could open a shop and do that legally.
Right. You know what I'm saying?
Get out of your comfort zone.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? Now most hood motherfuckers ain't gonna hear that shit.
No, but
you'll get one or two that'll be like, yo, you're right.
No, but if you think about it like this, like, we came from Queens. We did the mass transit thing. We've done the traveling by foot and stuff like that. We grew up in the hood. You know what I mean? When you move out to somewhere else where, you're not dependent on certain things like that. Right. You know what I'm saying? For me personally, it made me grow up. Right. Because I know what I needed to have. I know the work I needed to put in to achieve certain things. Right. And this, that, and the third. Because I'm not gonna lie, living in New York now, that shit will fucking empty my fucking pockets in a day. Oh yeah. No question. I live comfortably out here. Right. And that was the part. That was the point. Right, and that's the point. You know,
like, shouldn't you want to live comfortably? Like it, and to be fair, hey, I ain't exactly where I want to be, but I'm well on the path now. And it honestly took for me to get the fuck out of New York.
Which is crazy to say.
I love my city. I love my city.
I'm a Giants fan till I fucking die. He's a
Jets baby. Jets. Well, obviously, I've been pissed off for a lot of years. Knicks, Jets, Mets.
So
it's me, baby.
So, you know what I mean? Like, and that shit will never change. Die hard all day. Right. You know what I'm saying? But in the same sense, when you have other priorities that you need to take care of, you're trying to advance. And I'm not saying it like, and the saying is true. If you make it in New York, you can make it anywhere. Right. You know what I'm saying?
But sometimes you gotta recognize when it's time to make the exit.
Right. You know what I'm saying? You gotta learn when it's time to exit stage left.
You know what I mean? How my man say? You gotta know when to hold them, know when to fold them.
Yeah, you know what I'm saying?
Know when to walk away.
Other than that, you know what I'm saying? Like, you know what I mean? I think that us getting away from that environment, right? You know what I mean?
Help tremendous.
Because not for nothing, like because Frankie said earlier, you know what I mean? we've been going down this road for a very long time.
Right.
And we've been friends since we were like teenagers.
Jesus H. Craig.
You know what I mean? Like, we've been through so much shit that...
Yeah, we've done things that we can, well, the statute of limitations is done, so we can talk about shit. But
we experimented with drugs.
Oh, we've done a little bit of it. I've never done coke, heroin, smack, but I've never tried ecstasy.
It wasn't even a gang that we had.
Right, we just had a family. We had a clan.
We had a clan.
My man,
not for nothing, like on some Wu-Tang shit, I think, but we were deeper.
Word. Shout out to my homie Big Cat. Big Cat told me, yo, we used to think y'all was the Wu-Tang Clan because we see y'all outside throwing punches at each other in the front yard. Like, we're like, what the fuck is these niggas doing?
It was like 20 people.
Yo.
And we was all close.
Y'all think I'm lying. Y'all thought I was bullshitting. No. Nah. Yo, our life was fun. Like, we did shit that...
And I was one of the last people that came.
Right. And all we did, honestly, was just smoke weed, drink, chill, play video games, and fight. But the fun of it was we did it. There was camaraderie, male and female, and everybody was equal to a point. What I think really fucked us up was the amount of people that were in the pot at the time, because we was trying to do music, and it just didn't work. And now we had the talent.
I'm not gonna say it didn't work. I'm gonna say
it didn't work to the capacity it could have.
Right, you know what I'm saying? I don't think that we, not for nothing, like, because only certain people had the drive to do it at the time.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? And you know what I mean? Shout out to all my niggas.
Right.
You know what I mean? Like, I love everybody.
D, Mills, you know Dave, Just Joe.
On a music standpoint,
right.
You know what I'm saying? We had other focuses.
Right.
We had, people going through their own drama.
And enough,
so it's a lot.
It was a lot. And I'll be honest with you. And I can, and being hindsight being what it is, I can always look back on it now, and I can recognize my own shortcomings and faults in which I didn't recognize the greater good in that, you know what? Let's just get Vega and Greg out there. And
that's true too.
And then we'd have just rode the wave, because the truth is, had we because then we had Ruthless coming right behind it, and then me and Just, and me Justin Dwayne, me, you and Dwayne, and like we had a fun SSDs, nigga.
So now here's confession time. So you know what I mean? When we were doing it back then, like, my idea was that Frankie be the mouthpiece to promote all of this shit, because you see how this motherfucker has the gift of gab. So he could have definitely had that market for us put out. But then, once again, like I said, everybody has their own ideas and stuff like that or whatever. I think it just didn't really mesh well.
And
you know what I mean? And that's what we were trying to do at the end. And then, my brother left, and, Vega was doing his own thing. You know what I'm saying?
And shout out to my homie, shout out to Vega, and shout out to my homie Spaz. Word up. You know what I'm saying? He out in Houston doing his thing. You know what I'm saying? Check him out, Spaz CEO on Instagram and all that.
You know what I'm saying? But, you know what I mean? Like, it was just a lot of people who just going their own way.
Right.
And stuff like that.
And honestly, I didn't know how to follow at the time. See, that's something I've developed over time. You know because I recognize that I don't always have to be the front guy. You know what I'm saying? And honestly, now that I have this platform, this is the perfect platform for everybody, because for all walks of life, I don't care who you are, where you're from, if you got a business, something you want to promote, something you want to talk about, anything, come sit on the big brown couch, baby.
Word, for real.
It's comfy as hell. You might pass out. You might fall asleep. You know what I'm saying? And if you're family, you're more than welcome to. You know what I'm saying? But I think it's, but it's definitely like, we didn't have everything coming up, but we had enough, and we had each other, and we had And like I said,
most of us are still close to this.
Right.
Day, like,
Listen, I'm still close to everybody, but
right,
I also recognize that everybody's living their life. And one thing you discover about friendship is you don't always have to speak every day, every month. You know what I'm saying? But when you're really friends, when you pick it back up, it's the same. It's like no. Right. You know what I'm saying? But what I will say is, as we get older, I think it's imperative that we all reach out and make sure we keep in contact with everybody, especially through this COVID shit. That, if nothing else, that's just shown me that we need to make sure that we're all good. You know what I'm saying? Like, that's why shout out to Diamond. I'm proud. I love you.
I love you.
You know what I'm saying? Congratulations to you and the hubby, man.
I love you.
Word up.
To your husband too.
Shout out, you know what I'm saying? You're about to be a mom again, and that shit excites the fuck out of me. Because I don't have any kids, but I've seen all y'all kids raised, you know what I'm saying? Your son. Shout out to Janiyah, man. I love that little girl so much. And I'm mad that I cut my hair. She may not recognize me. That's why I don't want to see her until I grow it back. But shout out to Javin, Joe, damn, man. Like, I've got, and at the end of the day, look, I'll be dead honest with you. Throughout everything that goes on in my daily life, no matter what happens, every day, without fail, a thought of my mom and my grandma crosses my mom. And your mom. And Joe and my pops and Dawn and Diamond's mom, and like they all pass through my mind, and you know what I'm saying? And
I think that just shows the
camaraderie
that we had.
Man,
because like you always say, you know what I mean? You could go to my mom and you call her mom.
Right.
You go to your mom and call her mom. Rest in peace, Susan.
Wow,
you know
man.
I mean? Like,
and it's funny if I'm having to
every other mom,
and that's to now, because if I'm feeling away and I need to speak to a mom, I can speak to his mom right now, and she won't judge me. She'll listen to everything I say, and she'll give me some great advice. And the first thing she gonna tell me, and the only thing I'll tell anybody is, go with God. Go with God, and that's real. You know what I'm saying? That's real. I'll never tell anybody they wrong for that. You know what I'm saying? But I think it's important that we have these discussions, even if it's just something as minuscule as basketball or football, man. Or, you know what I'm saying? Just to be able to speak to each other and be free and together. Like, you ain't got no mask on, I ain't got no mask on, but I know when I'm out and about to keep my mask on, because I know that you are someone immunocompromised. You have asthma.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? So it's contingent upon me to think to myself, all right, you know what? I'm not worried about your COVID shit. I eat my vitamins. I eat right. I exercise. But it can hit anybody at any time. You know what I'm saying? So I'm kind of careful. If I'm at work or something, I'll, if I'm by myself, I'll take my mask down. But other than that, I'm keeping that sumbitch up. And I hate wearing it. I do. I genuinely hate wearing it, but
it's something that it's just a necessity right now.
Right. But it's not
pass.
Right. It'll pass.
But you think about it like this, like, where are you most comfortable at?
Home.
And if you're home, you know what
I'm saying?
So if you go to fuck home and you're not outside and shit like that, then you don't have to fucking wear a mask.
There you go. Sit your ass in your house, motherfuckers. Sit your ass in your house
and don't have to fucking wear a mask. Don't fucking bitch and complain when you gotta fucking go out to fucking Walmart or fucking a grocery store.
Right.
And you gotta wear a mask, because once you get home,
because no matter what, kids gotta eat.
Word, you know what I'm saying? You take that bitch off, you're not wearing it at home.
Right. You know what I'm saying? And then you go kiss your wife or your husband and make them feel like
that's why I don't give a big gripe about it.
No, it's an inconvenience. It's a minor inconvenience at best.
Yeah, but check this out though. I gotta wear that shit for 10 hours a day at work.
Right.
then I'm gonna fucking wear that shit for 5 minutes while I'm in fucking Walmart.
Right.
15, 20 minutes while I'm in fucking
Right.
Walmart.
It's not a big deal.
It's not a fucking big deal.
Get over yourselves.
And it's crazy because, you know, I work with the same people every fucking day, and I still gotta wear one.
Right.
And I understand that. If you go into a different environment, you're around people you've never seen before in your fucking life.
At all.
And occasionally you see somebody you do know.
Right.
But you still gotta wear it. You know what I'm saying? Because you don't know what that other person got.
Right.
You know what I'm saying?
You don't know if that person washes their hands.
Right, you know what I'm
and as
saying?
somebody who has cleaned bathrooms, I can tell you,
Come on.
70% of people don't wash their hands before leaving a bathroom.
Right. I wash my hands every fucking time.
I'm telling you that right now. 70% of the people that you encounter in public spaces that use a restroom do not wash their hands.
It's crazy.
It's gross.
Yeah.
And then they go and touch everything that you're gonna touch, and you know, it's just listen. Germs are real, man. That's why Listerine exists.
Word.
But it's it's crazy that we've gotten to a time when we're in these times. It's a fucking pandemic, okay. Right. But largely, and I can say this largely enough, we haven't been too much under restriction here.
Yeah, not
so much in Pennsylvania. Now, to be fair, they've closed a lot of businesses, which sucks.
Right.
Because a lot of these restaurants and other small businesses, they can't function without customers, and they can't function at half or 25% capacity.
Right.
That shit don't fucking fly.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? Waitresses and wait staff work on tips. Right. Your average dealer at a casino makes about $4 an hour. Right. You know what I'm saying? Yo, look, now that I no longer work for a casino, I can clearly say this. Yo, working for a casino is by far the shittiest job on planet Earth. This is pretty much why I started my own business, because I hate working for other people. Right. I recognize that there are times, and right now is one of those times where I got to do it, but you know what? Let's get these views up so I don't got to do this.
Right. all that shit is coming back to you. There's no middleman, you know what I mean, like that, except for what? You paying fucking health insurance and shit like that or whatever have you. Right. And that's not even a middleman. That's just something to pay for.
That's something you need.
Something that you're going to need. You know what I'm saying? Or whatever.
Until we get basic universal health care.
You're not working for another person who's cutting a check.
Right.
Which I can understand.
Right.
You know what I mean? Like, and that's why I say, you know what I mean, this will probably be the best thing for you. Yeah. Because not only do you, it's the personality. It's the personality, and you never know when to shut the fuck up. And
I did it!
Yeah, you know what I'm saying? and I'm saying that on fucking camera. Right now, I know this motherfucker.
I did it
together multiple times.
Word, it's my brother, man.
You know, like, and never once. I wouldn't say that we've ever gotten into.
Oh, we've had arguments. We had disagreements, but I love this guy, and friendship is one of those things where if
yo, shout out to all my other dudes.
Word, man.
Dwayne, Just, Joe, Greg, Mills, fucking
Dave, fucking
Carl,
like fucking
Sean.
Solid, fucking Sean, fucking Cappy, Jay Casket,
you know what I mean?
Doughboy Subs, like fucking my man, Jay Powell, Cash G, in Angola. We got family in Africa, baby. We global.
Yo, shout out to my man G. He's doing this thing out there in Angola. MG, check him out.
Word. Learn Portuguese, but he's dope. You know what I'm saying? But no, seriously. I'm gonna end this now, man. This was fun. I appreciate you for joining me, man.
Yeah, we were just shooting this shit.
Yeah, man. But we wanted to have that LeBron talk on. I wanted to have that LeBron talking basketball talk on camera.
Right now.
LeBron is the best now.
He is the fucking man.
Get over it.
Get the fuck over it.
You know what I'm saying? In a few years.
There should be no comparison to him and Jordan.
No.
If you would say, let's just put it at this. If there's a Mount Rushmore, he's on that motherfucker.
Yep. Right next to Jordan. Right next to Kareem Abdul-Jabbar.
Right. Yeah.
Next to Magic.
Word.
Next to Isaiah Thomas. You know what I'm saying? Like
he's on. If there's a Mount Rushmore, he's on that shit.
He's on it.
And there's no fucking comparison.
Right.
This dude is a fucking
phenom.
He's a phenom.
He's a phenom.
For real.
If you wanted to be a pro wrestler after this, he could do it.
Like, this nigga on some weird shit with fucking wrestling.
Yo, honestly, if you wanted to play football, he could do it. I don't think there's anything LeBron James couldn't do. He's a physical specimen out the wazoo.
But basketball is his niche, so stick to what you know. Stick to what you know.
And on that note, I am Frank Starfire. That's Syn Knowledge right there. Y'all motherfuckers have a blessed night. Enjoy this. I'll see you next time here on the Just to Be Frank podcast, where we'll shoot the breeze and talk some more shit. Come on down, sit on the big brown couch, baby.
Shout out to my son, Adrian.
Hey, Doug! And you know what? Before I go, I'm going to say something to somebody. Clarissa Zapata.
That's fucking God.
Let me tell you something. This enmity that we have between the two of us, I'm tired of it. I want it to end. I'm sorry for whatever the fuck happened. If you'd like, you are more than welcome to come sit down on the big brown couch and we can damn sure talk about it. But the truth is, I miss my friend and I'm tired of this fucking animosity between us. So I'm taking this time to tell you this because I care enough about you to try. One love and abracadabra.
Later.
I'll see y'all next time on the Just to Be Frank podcast. Hey, what up, y'all? It's your boy Frank Starfire, host of the Just to Be Frank podcast. If you like what you hear, do me a favor. Please like, subscribe, and share so I can keep bringing you the best content imaginable. And if you want to be a guest on the Just to Be Frank podcast, shoot me an email at frankstarfire696@gmail.com. It's right there. Don't worry. It's right there. I got you. Don't worry. You know what I mean? I got one good eye, but I make magic and shit. Trust me. Have a good one, y'all. Abracadabra. One love.